Hey folks, Nick Turner here with the Alan Turner Home Team at Century 21 Results. I wanted to start a weekly series where I answer questions that I get frequently about the real estate business, whether it's from buyers, sellers, or people just curious about real estate and what's going on and they ask me questions. One I've gotten frequently that I wanted to talk about first are closing costs. What are closing costs? How much are closing costs? Who's responsible to pay closing costs? These are all great questions I thought I could address and shed a little light on for you. So first of all, what are closing costs? Well, they're exactly that. They are the cost to close a real estate transaction. Most of the time, those are going to be things like lender fees to set up maybe your escrow accounts to pay your property tax bills, pay your homeowner's insurance bills, and other lender fees like originating your loan. They could be attorney fees like running a title search. It could be government fees like paying your prorated amount of property taxes or paying your transfer and intangibles taxes, all sorts of taxes associated with real estate. It could be HOA fees. Maybe you're moving into a community that has an HOA and they require an initiation fee, or they require you to pay your first year's dues up front. All sorts of things can be classified as closing costs. Now, how much are they? Well, it can certainly range in value, but I always tell buyers we use 3% as kind of a rough estimate for how much to expect. So if you're buying a house for $300,000, 3% of that is $9,000. So I always tell them estimate about $9,000, $10,000 for your closing costs. Now, who pays that? In Georgia, where we work, it's the responsibility of the buyer to pay closing costs unless they've agreed otherwise with the seller in the contract that the seller would pay some or all of it as well. So how that works, it's treated like additional down payment money. Let's say you're buying that $300,000 house and you're planning to put 10% down. It's $30,000 down payment. Well, if you're paying all your closing costs on top of that, then add another $9,000, $10,000 to that. So your actual down payment amount is going to be about $39,000, $40,000 for that 10% down payment. But sometimes buyers and sellers will agree that the seller will contribute some money. Let's say they say, hey, Mr. Seller, give me $5,000 to help with my closing costs. And the seller will do that. And how that works is it just keeps a little money in the buyer's pocket for when they move in and maybe they need some cash to buy stuff or pay movers, whatever the case is. Money's always good to have. And for the sellers, all it does is just reduce it off their bottom line at closing so they don't write a separate check for that amount. So sometimes you'll have a buyer pay all the closing costs. A seller might contribute a good chunk of it. A seller might pay all of it. It really just depends on the situation. It's important to have an agent that can help guide you through those kinds of conversations and topics as you're either buying or selling a home. So hope this is very helpful about closing costs, and we'll touch on another topic next week. If you have any comments or thoughts, please send me a message. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about.